Hi everyone, I thought it was about time I did a solar update. So in terms of the wiring, nothing's changed, but in terms of code, some has changed. So for those of you who remember how this works, or actually for those of you who don't remember how this works, I'll tell you. The way it used to work was that I had a light sensor, which I still use the light sensor, it's very useful, but the ESP32 would detect the amount of light, and when it sensed that light was over 5000 lux, it would turn the inverter and therefore solar on, and the contactor and all that as well. And if the light was less than 5000 lux, it would turn the inverter and solar off. And that was okay. I mean, sometimes on bad days it would flick on and off, which was a bit annoying, and I didn't particularly like that. So, well, a couple of other issues too, so I decided to change the algorithm completely. And now it's more of a time-based algorithm. So what happens now is that every day at 00:01 or whatever, 1 minute past midnight, the ESP32 here sends a message using my own protocol that I've written to my server, and the server responds. It gets the code of the message and it responds back. So this basically says, oh, this is code 5, I think it's code 510 or something like that. So this sends code 510 over to the server responds back, here you go. And the server gets the data via queries in SQL Server and sends it back. So it sends back the previous day's sunrise and sunset. I won't go into how it gets that, but it does. So it sends them back to here, and then this stores them in variables. And then what it does with the variables is it minuses 1 hour from each. So if we say, for example, sunrise was 7 AM and sunset was 7 PM, not that it is, it would take away 1 hour. So it'd say, okay, so today we want to turn on at 6 AM and we want to turn off at 6 PM. And that's how it works. So to turn on in the morning an hour before, that's fine, because I can rely on the sun to charge any lower values back up. And I turn it off an hour before sunset, or whatever the exact name of that is. It's technically not sunset, but it's something near sunset. It gives me an hour of light to charge the batteries back up, having switched solar off and used it for a day. So that's the way it's working. And I think it probably is better, although it's not been tested fully yet. I think I've had about a week or so of this on properly. I've not had a great deal of time, so I've just been doing bits and bobs as and when. I actually completed the update about 3 days ago, so yeah, not very much testing at all. So yeah, as far as the hardware is concerned, it's still the same. We've still got the remote, we've still got the buttons and all that sort of stuff. I still haven't changed the Wi-Fi. I turned it around to point to the other router. I've got it going to the one that it powers, which is a bit daft, but there you go. Other changes, I've done some very small changes, as well as the changes that I've just explained. I did something where I get emailed if there's an error. So if the server software detects an error from this, because remember this posts up to the server all the time, if the server detects an error, it sends me an email saying what the problem is, like, oh, you know, error, the ESP is sending rubbish to the server, or, you know, or the ESP is not responding, or something like that, or we've lost contact with it. So I get emailed now, so that's quite a cool thing. We've still got the issue of noise. The ADS 1015, there it is. I don't know if it's that, or if it's the wires, or what. It's certainly not the current shunt, because you know, that wouldn't work. So it's the wires or that, or it could even be the connection between there and that, I don't know. But there's an issue there as well. It sometimes reads noise. I don't know why it does it. I don't even know what exactly is responsible for it, but there's still that issue. But it's not a big issue at the minute. So there's that too. Right, now I think it's time to go over to my website, and I'll show you another problem. Okay, so now for this other problem. For whatever reason, and again I'm not sure why, the ESP32 just stopped sending data to the server. Actually, it's not right to say it stops sending data, but it sends the data string as it normally would, but just with no data in it. So instead of the numbers, serialized numbers with a comma separating them, it doesn't. It sends not a number, not a number, not a number, not a number, and then the interesting thing is the final 3 values it does send. So there's a bit of a problem there, which I'll need to address. And the effect it has on this, of course, is that there's just no data to display, and therefore I can't analyse things as well. There's no charts or anything like that. And this particular problem has been happening, this episode, if you like, of the problem has been happening for about 2 days. 1.5 days, something like that, and I've just not had time to look at it. Anyway, so this does happen now and again, and usually what I do is I'll just come in and just press the reset button, and it works again. So I've got to address that. There's another problem as well, is that the Nano does a similar thing, which I've not explained this before, but the Nano does a similar thing. It will just stop transmitting data for whatever reason. So while I'm on here, there's another issue which I need to resolve, or another 2 issues of things that I'm going to change. The first one is, unfortunately, it's becoming time to be able to revoke control, because what's happening is people are clicking here and here, switching it off and having a play about, which I don't mind that, because it's still testing and whatever, and I'm happy for people to test it and see how it works, but soon I'll be getting serious with this, and of course I will need to make sure that it doesn't get switched off and whatever. So in the meantime, feel free to mess with it. You can switch it on, off, play about with mains, look at the charts, but very soon I'll have to take back control of this thing. So that's that. And the other thing as well is that I need to, well, I don't need to, but I'd like to add a reset button over here. And what I want that to do is I want it to send a message to the ESP32 and tell it, hey, there's a problem or whatever, reset yourself. And I want it to physically reset the ESP32, not just the software, but the whole thing. So yeah, that's what's been going on. Let's have a quick look at this, how it works. Yeah, let's have a quick look at this imminent work. The ADS read noise, yeah, I've explained that. New timer algorithm is in place, I've shown you that. There's a new bug, it remains connected but starts sending down to the server. It's not actually a new bug, it's been going on for a long time. But yeah, and then down here, evaluation of future plans. Adding restart ESP button to the site, yeah, I've told you about that. Restricting web control to only me, yep, unfortunately I'm going to have to do that soon. Consolidate all functionality into the ESP32. Now this is a bit of a problem, but I'll go into that in a second. And add some casing, there's also that to do. Anyway, going over to this consolidate all functionality now. Yeah, what I'd like to do is, instead of having the Nano, doing lots of these tasks, I just want to use the ESP32. So if I could just use the ESP32, it means that then I'd have the buttons, the IR sensor, the TFT, the transistor, and of course the remote control. I'd have the Max 485 transceiver for Modbus communication. I'd have the ADS 105 to be able to get the amount of amperage coming through, and I wouldn't need the Nano anymore, and that would simplify things for me, because it would mean there's code only on one thing and it would just be better. I mean, this ESP32 is technically more than capable to do all of this itself. It kind of doesn't really need the Nano. Well, it shouldn't do anyway. So yeah, I'd like to get rid of that. But the problem is that I can't, because for whatever reason the ESP32 refuses to work with the Modbus library. I think the library that I was using, it just doesn't work. So being honest, the device and the way this thing works, the RS485 module with Modbus, it's at the moment beyond my capability. I don't understand it, so I'm not able to fiddle with that and get it working. And there was another issue as well. The ADS1105, oh, there's the light sensor as well around here. For some reason they wouldn't work with the SP32, and you know, it's a bit of a pain. So there you go, that's the update this week, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye.